Hello and welcome back to the M2 podcast. I'm your host, Michael Anthony. My co-host right here is KyleHeath. This is the show where we cover this gaming industry related news of the last week. This week, we're going to be talking a little bit about Nintendo coming out with like an alarm clock or something like that. We got Ubisoft, a little bit of an update about how people are getting sued. So that's awesome. Um, then we got a little bit of an update, insider info from Bethesda and a developer there about like basically why they left. Too many meetings and some Starfield background info, an update on the future of Halo, and also just a new game controller, gamepad. And it's actually pretty sick. It's been catching up steam. I don't know if you paid attention to it before, but it's the GameSir's controller. It got pretty popular in some first-person shooter comp tournaments. But before we get into that, Kyle, how you been? How you doing? Yeah, man, just good to see you.
Yeah, dude, it's good to see you too, dude. I've just been chilling, playing a couple games, still playing some Dead Island 2, trying to finish that out.
Of course.
Made some good progress, but I think I still got, at least a few hours left, so trying to kind of power through that. Played some of that. I played actually a new game, like a newer game that just came out on PC recently that I wanted to check out. It's called Arena Breakout Infinite. I don't know if you've heard of this game.
That sounds familiar. I'm gonna Google it.
It's an extraction shooter, so for all the Tarkov fans out there, very similar to that. But yeah, so I played some of that and with some friends.
Oh, it just came out.
Yeah, it did. It's one of those things too. It's not even on Steam yet, so you have to go to their website to download it. It's like very kind of
classic.
But yeah, I played a few hours of that with some friends and had some fun. And I'm not one to play extraction shooters. I've never really sat down and actually tried to play. But this one, it wasn't. The lobbies we were getting to weren't too campy or anything. It was nice, kind of just chill and got a couple kills and stuff.
Is this the one that Ninja got like a skin for? I think he was playing that earlier today.
Different. No, it's a different game.
Something similar to it. I just look at most of the main menus look so similar.
Yeah, yeah. I know what you're talking about. That's like a third-person extraction royale kind of game where it's like you actually drop in and.
Oh no, I'm looking at the gameplay now. It's more like Tarkov, like you were just saying.
Yeah, is it? I don't know. Maybe I was looking at a different thing then. I don't know, but I'm pretty sure.
No. I'm talking about the Arena Breakout.
Oh yeah.
Played.
Yeah.
It's more like Tarkov.
Exactly. Yeah. You kind of spawn in and you kind of roam, go to an extraction. That's the goal.
That's cool.
But yeah, put a few hours into that. Had some fun, so I might hop back on that at some point this week. Was enjoying that. But yesterday, we're actually recording this on Wednesday, but yesterday, Tuesday, Silent Hill 2 came out, remake. So I put a few hours into that. It's very well done so far. I'm enjoying it. It's a lot of fun. It's I haven't run into any game breaking bugs or anything, and the world looks pristine, and I don't know, it just looks it reminds me a lot of, I played maybe halfway through the first the original game. I got maybe halfway through it, never finished it, but yeah, I don't know, so far I'm liking this world, and voice acting is really well done, and it's a good game, dude. Team Bloober, they kind of they did a good job cooking it up, so I'm enjoying it so far, and I have high hopes for the rest of the game, but yeah, that's I'm pleasant. I wouldn't say pleasant surprise because I didn't expect it to fail necessarily, but just it's nice to know that it's there's a good game here kind of thing. Because I think a lot of people at Silent Hill that love Silent Hill wanted a good remake, so it seems like we got that. So yeah, I'm very excited. And yeah, I'm only a few hours in, and I think it's like a 13, 14-hour game, so got a ways to go, but I'm glad there's that much time left because I'm enjoying it. So
yeah,
I don't want it in right now, kind of thing. So yeah,
I'm excited for you, man. That's really cool.
Yeah, man, it's a lot of fun. Dude, playing anything else? I don't even know. I mean, I'm watching the sports stuff and I'm doing all that. I got this Jason Schreier's new book, Play Nice.
Yeah, Play Nice. Yeah, you said you read the first chapter.
Yeah, I've gotten through the first chapter, and it's setting up it's talking about the history of Blizzard and kind of how it came to be in California and all that.
Very cool.
Kind of what it's for. Very interesting so far, but yeah, I mean, only a chapter in, but I was really looking forward to this book because I wanted to learn all about Blizzard because there's a lot I feel I don't know. So,
do you know if it's on audio, like an audiobook or anything like that?
It is on audiobook. It's actually I don't know. Do you use Spotify? Not sure if you do.
Yeah, I got Spotify. I mean, I kind of use it for the pod, like
Oh yeah,
publishing and like
yeah.
stuff like that.
Because I was just gonna say, if you have Spotify Premium, and for anyone out there that has Spotify Premium, it is actually included the audiobook with Premium, so you can just listen to it. If you have Spotify Premium, you can listen to it for free, no extra charge. So I think it's like a 9-10 hour audiobook, and it's it's a pretty it's like 300 pages, something like that.
Yeah,
300-400. So
that should work perfectly with me. I don't know how you usually do like audiobooks, or I always have YouTube running, and I usually use it for audio and stuff like that.
yeah,
And I got like the upgraded YouTube Premium or whatever, so I can close my phone and like all my electronic devices, but it'll keep playing. That used to be a free feature, by the way. Bummed that I have to pay for now.
Yep.
But hey, whatever. Google. It was really cool, and I would love to find it on there. But if it's on all the other, or it's on different platforms and stuff like that, I'll just go there instead. But that's like been my niche, is like I don't really have time to read. I don't have the patience to read. I get headaches.
Yeah.
So if I can listen to it, then I'm good.
Yeah, no. Yeah, it's on audiobook. Jason, I'm pretty sure Jason Schreier doesn't read it on audiobook. It's someone else, but I mean, hey.
Yeah.
it's
I mean, you're gonna hire a professional to read the whole thing, especially if you've written it. That's pretty overwhelming. Reading the entire book yourself. You gotta have patience. Or you can just like, use your several $100,000 net worth or whatever. Not maybe a million. Who knows?
No.
But just pay somebody to do it for you. You'll be all right.
Yeah. But yeah, audiobooks out there. If, anyone wants to listen to it, that's certainly a way to do it. I don't know. I've enjoyed kind of just the the physical, so I ended up getting that. But yeah, cool. Each their own, But yeah, it's out. So I'm gonna read it, and I'll give my I'll certainly give my insight and review as I go, and kind of what surprises me. But yeah, it's I'm excited. Should be interesting. So
it's good. That's very good.
But yeah, Mike, dude, you playing Rocket League, dude? What's going on? It's Mike's world.
I played like a little bit of Rocket League here and there. Nothing too serious. Just picking it up every now and then. Still playing a little bit of Halo 2, but mostly it's been about planning for stuff. So it's like in about 3 weeks, I think. Maybe I think it's 3 weeks. 1, 2. Yeah, it's about 3 weeks. A bunch of people are coming into town. We're gonna have like over 10 people to do 4v4 Halo 2 LANs. I went out and got like an actual CRT. You can't see it, but it's behind my PC.
Yeah.
It's huge. It's like 80 pounds. It didn't come with a remote, so it's like, dang, I gotta like find a universal remote from back then, like mid 2000s. So I went on to eBay. I found something. Hopefully it arrives soon. But basically, it's like getting prepared for people to come to town, and getting things organized. So it's like there's a lot of things that you don't really think about when it comes to LAN parties. Yeah. So it's like we need tables, we need chairs, we need power strips, because we need power strips long enough to make sure that we don't blow a fuse. So it's like, okay, we need a power strip to like connect to a different room so that we can drag it over. So it's like I got a 20-foot long power strip that has 12 plugs on it, because we need to make sure everybody has a mix amp. It's like we're doing a proper LAN setup, like competitive stuff. And I'm debating whether or not we should have like a stream for it, if we should be recording, or it's like we need to have our own local dedicated server. So it's like, okay, we need to have like everything set up for that. So it's been a little bit of planning, spending a little bit of time watching sports, going to Top Golf, trying to figure out how to actually like play that game. By the way, if you haven't been to Top Golf, this is pretty cool.
Oh, I've been.
Have you played the Angry Birds version of Top Golf?
Dude, every time we go, we always play like the standard. We never like touch other stuff.
Like the people next to our bay were playing like Angry Bird. I looked over on their screen. I was like, what the hell? Because I was wondering, I was like, why are they chipping the ball in like a certain direction? It didn't make sense. It didn't seem like they're actually aiming for anything. And then I look at the screen. I was like, oh my God, they're playing Angry Birds. So it's like you hit the ball, and where the ball goes is where the Angry Bird on the screen will be launched. And it was like you're knocking down towers. It was so sick. And like my first hit, I knocked everything over. And I was like, I think we should play this game, guys. Because I was getting smoked. I don't know how to golf. I'm like not good. I never hit golf balls ever.
Yeah, so, I'm the same. Every time I go, I'm just gonna drive the whole time and hope it just clicks now and every few hits, just like get a good one. That's what
I need to buy like lessons. I need to get a proper trainer, because I don't have any negative habits right now. I'm starting from scratch basically. So if I can be taught how to do it properly, then I can develop good habits, and that's all I know what to do. So I think that's on like my bucket list within the year to just sit down and get to the driving range and learn how to hit it properly.
I think it's one of those things that comes with age, Mike. It's like as you grow up, you're like, oh, golf time. It's like I feel that itch sometimes too. It's like I just want to driving the ball is a lot of fun. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, man. One of my buddies, he's like, that's all he does. He just golfs all the time. He golfs so much that I ask him, I'm just like, hey, do you want to get on and play Helldivers? He's like, yeah, man, I'm gonna be golfing, and then after that, I'm gonna be tired. It's like, dude, it is 11 o'clock in the like right before lunch, and I'm asking you this.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, I'm gonna be golfing. Like I'm doing a full round of 18, man. It's like I'm gonna be tired after. It's like, okay, whatever.
He's gonna probably have a couple transfusions, you know, the golfer's drink of choice.
Of course, 100%, yeah. But speaking of which, when it comes to like new games playing, the Dragon Ball Z Sparking Zero is going to launch on Friday. So when this podcast launches is when it's going to be out, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to buy it. I think that's going to be my next game.
Okay.
Because I used to play the Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi series, which I think the last one was like 2006.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like it's part of my childhood. I grew up playing it all the time. My buddy, the golfing guy, he's a big fan of it. Him and I used to play it together growing up. That was like our game to play when we went over to each other's houses. So getting back on that would be really cool to just like grind single player, have a good time. So, and I'm just big into Dragon Ball Z. So
gotcha.
That's the goal. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Sounds it sounds also. Every time I see, I mean, I've never really played the Dragon Ball games, but it's always fun to watch and fun to look at because it's just like the art, the graphics. It's always just whoa.
It's interesting. You never actually watched the series, right? I think you told me that once before.
No, I haven't.
Yeah, so I think you should play the game because you start off at the very beginning. So there's Dragon Ball, and then there's Dragon Ball Z, and then there's like Dragon Ball GT. Nobody really counts, and then it keeps going up Super and like all this other stuff. But the Dragon Ball Z Budokai series of games, they start you off at the very beginning when it's like Goku's a young adult that's like becoming a family man. So he's going through changes that way, but he's also fighting villains at the beginning. So it's like the way the game works is it starts you off at that beginning and then you work your way through all the different sagas of the manga. And it's very, very cool how it's like you can participate in it. So it's like if you never watched the show before, it might be interesting to you. If you have watched the show, it's like it's a recall to remember like what things happened. It's kind of cool.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I'm a big fan, so pretty excited for it.
So I think the one time I saw Dragon Ball, I went with a buddy and we saw like Resurrection F in the theaters because they were doing like theater showings. It was all like
you must have been confused.
I was dude. You don't. I was like art wise, this looks amazing. Like, but I just don't know what's happening.
Yeah, because Dragon Ball has been around for so long, they rely on a lot of people to just know what's happening.
Right.
Like you should just know who Goku is. You should just know who Gohan is. But they don't really explain it if you jump in.
Right.
You know.
I mean, it makes sense.
Like it's like Resurrection. I don't even think they even say like Gohan is Goku's son. I don't think they really mention that. I don't think they mentioned like Goten is also Goku's son. And it's like, who the heck is Chi-Chi? She's just an angry woman. It's like you don't understand who she is because you didn't watch Dragon Ball. It's like, it's interesting.
Yeah, I hear there's so much filler too, so I don't know. Maybe I'll get into it.
They're in the TV. So, oh my gosh,
it's just like
there is. There's like one. Yeah, anybody that's like listening right now, they're gonna know what I'm talking about when Goku faces Frieza for the first time on Namek, which is a planet outside of like Earth in a different like solar system or galaxy. It's like he faces Frieza and he charges up an ultimate attack they learned on Earth to gather like resources called the Spirit Bomb from other living creatures, and it takes like 10 episodes
to charge. Like,
the whole thing is him just charging for 10 episodes.
Yeah, that's the meme I heard is that there was just episodes of just charging up. It's like,
dude. It is. I think it takes like 4 episodes for him to transform into a Super Saiyan for the first time.
Crazy.
It's madness.
It sounds ridiculous.
Yeah, but the manga apparently is like super adult. It's like. Really? I heard is like a little bit of pornography, like people actually die. It's kind of gory.
What we do in Japan?
Hey, it is what it is. But we didn't come here to talk about Dragon Ball. We didn't come here to talk about what we've been up to. We came to talk about the news of the last week. So why don't you jump us into what Nintendo's been up to, Kyle?
Yeah, dude, let's get right into it, shall we?
Yes, sir.
So this was interesting. I saw this one today at the time of us recording this. This dropped. Nintendo, and so this is coming from IGN, Wesley Yenpool. He said Nintendo hopes Alarmo will establish a new convention for waking up. Now, people just hearing the title of the article might be a little confused about what we're about to talk about. So let's just get right into it. Let's figure out what this is. Nintendo has published a deep dive into the making of its shock new hardware, and I saw a bunch of trolling online talking about like Nintendo announced new hardware, breaking news, and then it's like just
yeah, everybody thinks it's like the new Switch.
Yeah, the interactive alarm clock Alarmo, and explain why it avoided adding game-like elements to the device. While Alarmo features characters from across Nintendo's video game franchises to encourage you to wake up, it does not include anything you'd call gameplay. In a just published Ask the Developer Volume 14, Nintendo Sound Clock Alarmo producer Yusuke.
I think so.
Tamori. The Tamori seems easy, but like.
Oh, it's definitely the last names are always easy.
That's true. That's true. So, Yusuke Tamori of Nintendo's Entertainment Planning and Development Department and director Tetsuya.
Yeah, like I said, the last name's always easy. Akama. It's true.
The Technology Development Department explained why. It turns out Nintendo considered adding game-like elements, but ultimately decided against it because the company didn't want to encourage users to, for example, wake up early or just not wake up at all.
Jeez.
Yeah, so there's some images that IGN has here of this of the box and the actual Alarmo itself. For those who obviously aren't audio, it's literally a red circle with a screen in the middle and a white, like, kind of alarm top. So I'm assuming you click that and it stops the alarm.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's got like Mario with...
It's like a bell on the top.
Yeah, it looks like a bell almost. It's got the date, the time, AM, PM, and when the alarm is set. So in this case, 7 a.m. in the example. But you can change it. So there's like images too where it shows like Link and he's in front of a fire and it's got the Hyrule font.
It's actually pretty sick.
I mean, it's for many different games. Mario has kind of that Mario font. So it's kind of the interesting stuff there. It looks like USB-C. That's how we charge this device. So if we implemented game-like elements, it can be assumed that users would continue to play with it in bed. In that case, it might end up disturbing their sleep instead. We didn't want to create a kind of situation because we wanted users to wake up refreshed. So we decided early on to exclude such playable elements. Akama added that Nintendo hopes people will use Alarmo for a long time. Because of that, it was concerned about the impact game-like elements might have had on users. For example, if we were to create a system in which you receive a reward every time you wake up, it may motivate you to wake up as long as you're still receiving the reward, he explained. But if we create that system, once the rewards stop, you may lose your motivation to wake up. What's worse, once you get used to that system, you might even start to think, well, if there's no reward, then I don't need to get up. We concluded that it would be best to remove game-like elements to encourage users to continue using it for a long time. Also, there were comments from the development team like, let's not give users more tasks to do. That's that, we out here thinking, using our designer brains. That's what I'm saying. I don't want to wake up and do another thing, Mike. You know what I'm saying?
That's a fact. Like, I just woke up, man.
I just woke up, dude. Yeah. This was all part of the philosophy not to be overly pushy with Alarmo, Pear said. So there are no gold medals for waking up earlier than the alarm time or bronze medals for waking up later. Rather, Nintendo wants Alarmo to be something that gently supports users. We hope that Alarmo will stand in a place where people casually use it for a long time. Indeed, it sounds like Nintendo has perhaps overly ambitious hopes for Alarmo's influence on the way people sleep across the world. Akama said he hopes Alarmo will establish a new convention for waking up. You wake up, enjoy listening to the game world for a while, and just by getting out of bed, a fanfare will play automatically when the alarm will stop. He continued, I hope that being able to change how waking up that day feels by choosing a different alarm sound will become a global standard in the future. Just as touchscreens and automatic doors are commonplace for today's generation, I'd be excited to see a new generation that's grown up with Alarmo and thinks of an alarm clock as something that makes a sound when you roll over and stops automatically when you get out of bed. Alarmo is due out early 2025, priced at $100. But
Whoa.
Nintendo Switch Online members in the US and Canada can buy it right now via the My Nintendo store.
$100 though?
$100 alarm clock.
Lot, dude.
It's a lot for an alarm clock, dude. So IGN asks in a poll at the end of the article, would you buy Nintendo Sound Clock Alarmo? Yes, no, it depends. Tell us in the comments why. What do we think, Mike? Collective podcast vote. Would you get this? Would you not get this?
I think for less than $100, I would consider it.
Okay.
$100 is a lot of money.
Yeah.
I know inflation's been skyrocket. You can't be charging $100 for a clock when everybody you know has a phone. That's most people's alarm clock.
Oh, it's kind of split, this poll. This is 4,800 users. 36.4% said yes. 45% said no. Then 18.6% said it depends. So kind of a split poll here between yes and no, but majority no. Looks at it. So. But yeah, so
I mean,
I don't know.
I think it's very cool. I'm actually like enticed by it because I think it'd just be sort of cool to have. But for $100 to say, "Oh, this is cool to have," no, thank you, no, thank you at all. I do have one thing that's like, I experienced this growing up, where you could set music to be your alarm clock, so you could set like your favorite song or whatever to wake you up every morning. But what I started developing, this is like middle school, I was doing that, like the old flip phones. What happened was I would start waking up to that song, and it put me in a bad mood every single time I heard that song.
Yep, I discovered that too.
Yeah, so
it sounds great when you're young. Sounds great.
Yeah, and now I can't listen to Taking Back Sunday and Make Damn Sure anymore. Like, this is how it is. Like,
dude, there was a Hoodie Allen song I used to wake up to, and then like, thank God it was like it was a song I didn't really like care for anyway, but like I would just use it as an alarm because I was like, oh, it's got a peaceful start. That'll be a nice way to wake up. And now every time I hear that song, I can't think. I'm just like, I'm waking up. I can't. Yeah, like it's how it is. It's that association, man. It ruins it.
It's very true. So I do like the idea of maybe not gamifying your like waking up stuff. I get that totally, but at the same time, it's like, dude, I'm not a morning person. If I listen to Mario being like his signature sound of like, yes, it's like every morning, it's like, I'm not gonna play Nintendo anymore.
You're just like, all right, and then every time you hear that, you're gonna be pissed off.
Oh my gosh. Or like when he falls into like the lava pit on Bowser's like the ending for Bowser. What? Like Wario or something? Yeah, no, it's not for me, man.
Oh, dude.
Honestly, it does sound hilarious. I kind of want to get one just to prank people that stay over at my place as like a guest. Like the alarm goes off, like, oh yeah, you guys can sleep in. You can sleep in. It's like 8:30. That's like a normal time to wake up. But if you're sleeping over at somebody's place, you usually kind of sleep in. It's vacation, right?
Yeah.
You're not just staying over there to stay over there. It's like there's usually something going on. So it's like have that go off at 8:30 in the morning, and it's the sound of Mario getting the star. You know,
dude. Yeah. Yeah. You're just, I don't know. It'd be funny just to not have it in there, and then while they're sleeping at night, you sneak in, you plug it in, and just set it on, I don't know, until they wake up. And you're like, you kind of hide it.
4 a.m.
Yeah, you kind of hide it, and then all of a sudden it's just like they wake up at like 5 a.m. They're like, am I in Mario's world right now? Like, oh yeah, it'd be good.
Or it's like it starts off by you know what actually would be a good sound to wake up to is when you go through the tunnel, like the pipes, and then it goes underwater.
Oh,
that like underwater theme would be sick. Dude, that thing was a bop, an absolute bop back in the day.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, the whole time we're like, just like swaying back. That's so good,
dude, man. Yeah. This might be worth it just to prank people. Now that I think about it, make a good point.
Yeah, it's $100 prank though.
Hey, it's reusable. That's the best part.
I pranked somebody 10 times. It's worth it.
$10 a prank, dude. I'm telling you.
Yeah, it's actually so funny. Oh my god, I might just want to do that just to see how the missus reacts in the morning. Like put it on the other side of the room.
Wake up in like Zelda land, dude.
Oh my gosh, man. Hyrule Castle, like theme song. Honestly, you gotta admit, it kind of makes sense now that we're talking about it.
Yeah.
I bet you this was how like the boardroom conversation went. Like,
yeah.
we need some new hardware. It's like a Switch 2? Nah. We need something different. That's not ready. It's like, honestly, we're not going to release that till like 2030. What else do? And then the intern's just like, how about an alarm clock? I don't use it because I have a phone. But you guys like remember alarm clocks?
That's my direct thought. Like, dude, dog, I have a phone. Like, I just It's like
when was all I need. Do you even have an alarm clock in your room? Yet you have to actually look around right now. Yeah.
Nope. Like,
I do. It's actually
okay.
Maybe this will, dude. Look, for anybody that's on the video. Okay, so this is a workout clock that I got for the NFL fantasy football draft, and I've been using it also to time weapon spawns and stuff in video games. Oh, wow. It comes with the remote. Look at how monstrous this thing is.
God, dude, this thing is big.
By the way, obviously we're filming at 8:22.
So late, dude. Oh my god.
That's my bad.
Oh, dude.
It's just
it
has an alarm.
It's so funny because like I just think like I have my phone and I'm so used to the iPhone.
Yeah, dude.
And that I'm like, look, I already hate that sound enough. Like I'm good. Like I don't need to start hating other sounds. Like
this would have hit so hard about 15 years ago.
Oh, for sure.
It would have been the best.
Pre-iPhone, for sure.
Yeah. $100 when it should probably be 25 at most. Yeah, hard sell. I think so.
Hard sell.
But I do think it's kind of hilarious.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, honestly, if it was 15 years ago, iPhone would have been out. It would need to be over 18 years ago. So, yeah, I feel old.
Yeah. There's people in the freaking comment section, dude, that's like they're eating over here. They're kind of eating it up. They're like, one person goes, "This is amazing. I already bought 2. I can't wait to try one out. I'll keep the other unopened." That is very typical. Keeping collector's editions of Nintendo, very common.
Yep. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, man. Very cool.
There's a market.
Cool.
There's a market.
Yeah.
Well, you know who doesn't have much of a market at all?
Oh, the most struggling developer in 2024.
And we have more bad news.
Yeah. We cover... Yeah, so for people that are longtime listeners, we've been covering Ubisoft months, almost every single episode this season. We covered it last season, late last season, just because it's an abysmal state. Like the studio's on fire, man, and it's sad. So we got more of an update. This is coming from Video Game Chronicle. It is written by Chris Scullion. It is titled, Ubisoft is being sued for allegedly sharing Ubisoft Store and Ubisoft Plus user data with Meta. Which, I mean, how can you prove that? Just a side note. I'm just thinking about it because it's like Meta's Facebook for people that have been living underneath a rock. Everybody had a Facebook at one point in time. Facebook doesn't even ask you for your information. You just willingly gave it, you know?
Yep.
So...
That ULA. Just saying.
Yeah. And that's kind of why we chose this article, because it's like, it's kind of a bait. It's like, I got to know what, how I got to know
these claims here, dude.
Yeah. So the class action complaint claims Ubisoft sends user data to Facebook without permission. So Ubisoft is facing a potential class action lawsuit for alleged illegal user data sharing. As reported by Bloomberg Law, the class action complaint accuses the Assassin's Creed publisher of sharing personal identification information, PII, with Facebook company Meta. According to the complaint, players who use the Ubisoft website to buy a game on the Ubisoft Store or use it to subscribe to Ubisoft Plus are having their PII sent to Meta through its Pixel user tracking software. So this is in quotes, looks to be directly from the complaint. So defendant does not disclose on the website that PII users personally identifying information would be captured by the Meta platforms, tracking Pixel utilized by the defendant, and then transferred to Meta, thereby exposing subscribers' PII to any personal or ordinary technical skill who received the data. The complaint continued on by saying, data sharing policies for a service or subscription is an important factor for individuals deciding whether to provide personal information to that service. The complaint claims that this practice is a violation of the Video Privacy Protection Act, which was originally introduced in 1988 to prevent video rental stores from sharing a member's PII because it could, and in quotes, specifically tie the identity of an individual to their purchase history. That's interesting. I didn't know that. It kind of makes sense. But at the same time, it's like, I guess because it's a Video Privacy Protection Act for renting. Is that what that basically means?
I guess
it's to prevent video rental stores from sharing. This could be interesting. So my initial thoughts right here, because it was originally introduced in 1988 to prevent video rental stores from sharing a member's PII. So I had a thought just now, and obviously I'm not a legal scholar. Because we're going into a digital age where you don't actually own the things that you buy, right? We're already talking about changing the definition of purchasing to make it so it's becoming more and more aware that, like, when you purchase a game online, you're buying the license to play the game. You're not buying the game forever. It's like you're buying the license to play on their servers because you don't really own it. I wonder if this law will help protect, like, the consumer because it's a video rental store, like, issue. Because in a way, if you're not buying something and you're not purchasing, like get what I'm saying here is, like, if you have Xbox Game Pass and you can play certain games, you're kind of renting the games because you're based on, like, a subscription service. When you stop paying for the Game Pass, you are no longer eligible to play those games.
Yeah.
How's that any different than a rental service that, like, Blockbuster used to have? Or GameStop used to have that.
I mean,
or EB Games.
Yeah,
you used to rent them.
Right,
so,
I mean, you didn't own it. Either way, you don't own it.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I mean, it's a good point.
I'm curious how that'll work. So let's go into it a little bit further here. Following the growth of digital distribution, the act was amended in 2013 to allow video rental companies, including the likes of Netflix, to share users' PII with social network sites, but only after the user consents. That's why, like, most of the time you can link all your different, like, social media sites.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know this, but it's like you can go on Discord and you can link all your Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, Meta, like everything, Instagram, whatever, OnlyFans, maybe, I don't know. You can link it all together. So I think that's one of the reasons why. The complaint against Ubisoft alleges that because Ubisoft doesn't tell players it's sharing their PII with Meta, it's therefore violating the Video Privacy Protection Act, among others. That's probably true. So the claims go into a little bit more of the quotes, a little bit more context. This is directly from the claim. Defendant purposefully implemented and utilized the pixel, which tracks user activity on the website and discloses the information to Facebook to gather valuable marketing data. The pixel cannot be placed on a website without steps taken directly by defendant or on behalf of the defendant by a website manager, which is one of the examples. The pixel cannot be placed on the website by Facebook without the knowledge and cooperation of defendant. Defendant does not seek and has not obtained consent from PII users to utilize the pixel to track, share, and exchange their PII with Facebook. The lawsuit has currently not yet received class action certification. The plaintiffs are seeking a trial by jury and want financial compensation for everyone affected, as well as court-ordered instructing Ubisoft to either remove the pixel from its website or get consent from its users before it shares their PII. They're going to get consent. And I don't think there's going to be a lot of people actually caring, because at this point, if he kind of gave up all your information a long time ago, this is a complaint that should have happened, in my opinion, 20 years ago. But
I mean, yeah, that's fair, right? Yeah, dude. Yeah. I mean, look, start using the internet at a certain point, you forfeit stuff without realizing it. Maybe you realize it, like, there's kind of a level of anonymity that you get rid of. I mean, I will say, do I think it's right to, like, use stuff without the consent of the user, or to try and track stuff without the consent of the user? No. So I mean, I guess I support it in that way, like, which I think is kind of that's like the crux of this, lawsuit is like, hey, they didn't get consent. So, and I agree. So I mean, I think on that aspect, I do agree with this. Will it see traction though? That's the main question. And I don't know. I struggle to think that this is going to get enough traction to, warrant becoming class action and maybe even seeing money. But I don't know.
Yeah, I think I'm on the same wavelength as you when it comes to like getting traction, but I think this could have ramifications for the future. You know how there's like little court proceedings that happened 20 years ago, like this 1988 prevention on the video rental stuff. It's like a lawyer's interpretation of what the previous ruling could be to justify what the new ruling should be for a certain case can be kind of manipulated a little bit. So what I'm saying is like perhaps this could bring upon like changes in ways that we don't see currently. Like it could be very meaningful, or it could just be something that disappears into the abyss, never to be seen again.
Yeah. Yeah, there's certainly a chance for it to go both ways.
Yes.
I think so. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it'd be nice, I think, if there was some, there was some positive change out of this. But I don't know. I struggle to see that, at least with this little amount of information. There may be more. I mean, there's probably way more discussed in the actual document and kind of what was brought to court. But, yeah, I don't know, man. It's, I kind of... It's one of those things, like the fact that Ubisoft is like going after Ubisoft for it, I think is funny. It's just like, there's just so much going on with Ubisoft, and this is another thing on the plate.
They're in shambles. They need to get their finances in order. They have company culture that's like all over the place. The complaints coming out of people leaving haven't been very good. So Ubisoft is in a bad state, and this, like you just said, it's one more thing to be added on. I think it's because it's in the news. You know what I mean? Like Ubisoft isn't doing well right now. There's a lot of traction on YouTube, social media.
Yeah, they're a hot name.
A really hot name. So it's like it's a good opportunity for a couple of hotshot lawyers to be like, you know what, we can go after them right now.
Yeah,
and
they're pretty
get our name out there.
They're kind of limping. They're not doing too well.
Dude. This ain't gonna kill them, I don't think.
Nah,
but
they have a whole lot of other stuff that's gonna kill them before this does.
Yeah, just they need to make good games, man.
It's interesting. Yeah, it's like I feel like this is one of the major times, like in the game industry history, where it's like a developer of this size is actually like on the brink. So, I don't know. There's actually another developer too that is kind of not doing too hot. That's actually the next article, Mike. It's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy.
That's true.
Might as well just get into it.
Bethesda. Let's go.
Bethesda. So, this is coming from PC Gamer. And this is actually, the article is from a former Bethesda developer that actually disclosed some of the development practices that are ongoing at Bethesda that actually made him quit. So I think it's interesting to kind of see from that perspective what's going on.
Dark times.
So Christopher Livingston over at PC Gamer wrote this article. It says, there are, quote, there were so many meetings. That was a former Bethesda developer explained when he talked about why he quit during Starfield and started a solo project. He said, quote, I enjoyed it a lot less as the studio grew and grew. Says the Access Unseen's Nate Perkapile. It's like Perkypile. It's like Turkey Pile, Perkypile.
Yeah.
Jeez. Who worked at Bethesda for 14 years. He's a vet, Mike. Bethesda vet, dude. All right. Let's get into it. If you played the Bethesda RPG in the past decade, you've seen plenty of Nate Perkypile's work. The developer worked as a world lighting artist on Fallout 3, 4, and Skyrim. Was lead artist on Fallout 76 and designed several iconic locations like Diamond City, Little Lamplight, and Paradise Falls. Perkapile also worked on Starfield as lead lighting artist and senior world artist, but left Bethesda in the midst of the space RPG's development to found his own studio, Just Perky Games, because he's now essentially a solo dev. His first game, The Access Unseen, is looking great so far. A heavy metal bow hunting horror game that plays like it was made, like if you made a whole game out of Skyrim's stealth archer playstyle. Today, Perkapile posted a trailer for The Access Unseen on Reddit and opened up a little about not just why he left Bethesda, but why he left during the development of Starfield specifically. He said, and I quote, I know a lot of people have thoughts on Starfield and how it is probably too big, should have been smaller, Perkapile said. I agree with a lot of that, and while I enjoyed working at Bethesda a lot when we were about 65, 110 people on Fallout 3 and Skyrim, I enjoyed it a lot less as it grew and grew. Perkapile said the number of developers at Bethesda during Starfield's development had exploded since Skyrim and Fallout days. Starfield was about 500 people or so and with 4 different companies involved: BGS, BGS Austin, BGS Dallas, BGS Montreal. And that's not including outsourcing. This just wasn't my style, he said. There were so many meetings, and it wasn't the way I like to build games. This isn't the first time we've heard about how Bethesda's growth over the years has caused issues for some of its team members. As we learned earlier this year from former Bethesda developers Will Sheen, Starfield's lead quest designer, and Daryl Brigner, Fallout 76 lead level designer, Bethesda's size could make it tough to coordinate with other developers or even know who your boss was. Quote, it's more difficult than ever to know who does what, who you're supposed to report to, Bringer said at GDC in March of 2024. Sheen agreed, saying, every department is scrambling for resources and saying no to collaboration requests. And even minor requests were complicated. Asking for something as simple as a chair wasn't so simple. Do you need animations for it? Do you need sound effects for it? How much does that add to the schedule? Can it not fit because one of those teams does not have the time? Brinkpile quit Bethesda in 2021 in the midst of Starfield's development. I always loved indie games, and I figured if I didn't do it now, I maybe never would, he said. Using Unreal Engine 5, he created the Axis Unseen, a world that is not procedural, but 100% hand-built. The map is about 5 times the size of Skyrim, but I tried something smaller, and it didn't work very well. Jeez.
Oh my gosh, dude.
Ted recently got his hands on the demo and is pretty stoked about the full game. Everything looks like heavy metal album art in the Axis Unseen, a world of cryptic sandstone statues and giant skeletons lurching out of the ground. He said you could try the demo for yourself on Steam, and they even have the trailer linked in the article. So, very cool, kind of seeing that game, but I think for me, the big thing is kind of Bethesda and kind of the kind of vague insight we've got into kind of what's going on at that studio. And I think what most people could probably deduce, if you really kind of think about the deterioration of what Bethesda's IPs have been like over the past few years, and even, I mean, arguably the past decade. And yeah, dude, it's like, it's getting to a point where like these just too many cooks in the kitchen. Nobody knows kind of what they're doing, and it's
nobody's really taking ownership either. It's like it's not looking good, man.
Yeah, and I mean, I could probably go on and on because just Bethesda as a studio, especially with Starfield and just the release of Shattered Space recently, and how it just was like a complete dud and just kind of didn't deliver at all. And so it's starting to make people think of like, okay, like people are starting to get worried for Elder Scrolls 6. Because they're like, especially if they're building on the same engine, it's like you're gonna have the same problems. So
true.
It's just, oh man, it's similar to. There's similarities between Bethesda and Ubisoft of just kind of a fall from grace and just like getting to a point where it seems like they're just kind of like too in their own head and not taking outside criticism and just kind of like, oh, we know what we're doing kind of thing, so we're not even gonna try and change. That's kind of the vibe I get from these kind of recent releases and all that.
Yeah. I think it's just the stakes are so high now when it comes to big devs. Like the AAA devs that have all these people working there, that nobody wants to take accountability or take full ownership of what they're making. It's like there's no accountability because that involves risk. It's like if you take up all the ownership of the game and you start making some maybe risky decisions to make a game what you view as good, if it backfires and it's not successful, you get ridiculed and you lose your job. It's not really about making the best game possible.
Kind of the play it safe mentality.
Play it safe. Yeah, based upon like maybe societal expectations of what should be safe. Yeah, it's hard to really explain because I feel like there's not very many games nowadays outside of indie devs and like small studios that actually take risks. Most of the time it's just like it's all kind of play it safe. Like one of the next IPs that we're going to talk about is Halo, and it's just there's not blood in Halo anymore. It used to be very adult content back in the day. It's like it's more dumbed down Disney version, so it's for everybody. It's like it's okay to have games that aren't for everybody, man. Like Diablo Eternal is not for everybody, and I consider that one of the best games I've played in a very long, like ever. I love that game.
Dude, Diablo 4 got that expansion, dude. I mean, I've been seeing articles all over the place talk about, hey, now's the time to play Diablo 4 if you haven't. Like,
yes,
just play it. Like so.
Another one is like Doom Eternal is like super intense. So it's like Yeah, there's just so many games that you can kind of choose from, but when you see these games, they're just like they're not very memorable. They're kind of boring. Now, I do think it's very cool to see games that have taken big risks and succeeded.
Yeah.
Like Hades succeeded. I think Elden Ring succeeded. Alan Wake 2 succeeded. There was Baldur's Gate 3. It's like that was a huge risk, man.
Dude, yeah.
So
I mean, see, the thing about
very
Baldur's Gate,
cool.
think about Baldur's Gate 3 is like, I think there was zero expectations of that game being good. Like when they were working on it, it's like even the own studio was the developers were surprised when it did well because they were like, we didn't expect this kind of reception, and it was
like everybody loved it.
The year, like it was all over the place. So like
everybody knows what D&D is, but not everybody has played it before. So it was like it was a popular way to
give it a nice package, just easy to understand, easy to
you can sell it. Very cool,
dude. Yeah, I mean. It's just one of those things like, when you have a vision and kind of stick to it, that's how it is. Like, I know probably like a God of War when they were remaking that was probably a risk because like it's like you have Kratos and his child, and so like when you pitch that as an original concept, it's probably like not getting many heads to turn.
Like,
it's like, huh?
By the way, like Kratos is not a good dad. He's
yeah.
like kind of a monster. He's a terrible god.
I mean, it's like you see like a more human side of Kratos in that game, and it ended up working out, and it's just like, I mean. Just like rebooting franchises like that, taking risks like that, like that's a thing of like a reboot where it's like, I wouldn't say God of War was necessarily dead, but I think if they just kind of continued on the same path, it just wouldn't. It would have got old.
Out.
Yeah, and so
I think what they did, what they did in the most recent one, it was like, oh god, it's like they went a completely different way to where anybody can like relate to it now.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. It's like you add a sense of relatability that works. I mean, because you were talking about earlier about these games, it's like they try to dumb things down and Disneyfy or whatever, just kind of like make it appeal to more people, and it just most of the time falls flat. But if you do it right, I mean, you actually appeal to more people. So I don't know.
This is kind of like going a little bit sidetracked and away from Bethesda in general, but just a general bit of the gaming industry stuff that really irritates me. And I was listening to a podcast. I think it was either this morning or yesterday morning when I was going into work, and they were talking about like good story writing. It might have been Asmik Gold, honestly. He was ranting about how people just aren't good at writing stories anymore.
Oh yeah,
he's like the game stories are bad because people don't know how to write anymore, and the writing in the past was so good because people read more. They were like more profound with their thought processes. Probably because they weren't distracted, It's like less distraction back then. You can be really in your thoughts. But one of the things he was talking about is like movies, the good movies do not explain things to you sometimes. They just show you, and then you can you can take it in, and then you get to have like a relationship with the movie that can be completely different than what other people have. And I think that's what gaming should be too.
I mean, dude.
You need to have a relationship with the game and play it a certain way in which you want to play it, because those are the most memorable ones. One that's coming to my head right now is like Splinter Cell. Or like I think a couple of the Tom Clancy games as well. You can either choose to be a spy, like low cover, go stealthy, or you can be guns blazing.
Yeah.
And the cool thing about it is like when you have that experience, whichever one you choose, you can then go talk to your buddy and ask them what their experience was. Like what did they behave? Like what were their choices? I think that's why like Life is Strange is really cool, because you get to choose what you want to do based on your choices.
Yeah.
And that's a game that took a leap of faith in a little way.
Yeah,
I mean, ways.
It's because like a lot of the points you're hammering on, it's like it's crucial to RPGs, and it's like it's so disappointing when you play an RPG and it's all fetch quests and there's no sustenance, and it's just like you're just eating empty calories.
It's
like
and
it's
same
just
cycle,
bad.
Different scenery.
Like so when you get good writing, it's like it carries the game for the most part. It's like, oh wait, a story I can connect with and actually it's me.
Yeah, I've played really terrible games with the good stories.
Yeah,
I played like, busted games with good stories.
The fundamentals are like the gameplay fundamentals just stink, but it's like, okay, I want to see what happens. Like,
it's just like I'm invested, man. Like The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
The
Telltale
turn-based game. Yeah, Telltale.
Yeah.
Those games are trash.
Oh yeah, like
I'll be honest. Yeah,
dude,
I mean, graphically they're not very good.
It's one of the best stories of that generation, dude.
I know, that's what I'm saying. It's just like, that's what I mean. It's just like, it was kind of busted. It wasn't that fun.
Yeah.
But no, it was fun because I was invested. It wasn't just I was invested because I liked the show. It was like I was invested with the actual characters.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like the game lives separate from the show almost, I feel like. It's just like a good story.
What was the girl's name? Clementine, I think.
I'll be honest, I've just seen like clips. I haven't played it.
Oh, dude.
But from the clips I've seen, it's like, okay, I see.
That's good.
Yeah. But yeah, it's gotten critical acclaim. It's great. I mean, it's just to get on Bethesda real quick before we move on. I think
go ahead.
I think what I'll say about Bethesda is until there's like a major shift in their development practices and a major shift in the engine that they use, I'm starting to lose hope for future titles because it's just like it seems like they don't want to actually branch out, try new things. I mean, one thing, like I loved dude, CD Projekt Red with Cyberpunk is like the best example, and I think because they made good games for a long time, they fumbled with Cyberpunk, but they were like, all right, now let's focus on this. Let's just make it better. We'll release one DLC, but let's really put time and effort into that. Let's make sure that it's good. And then in the meantime, like, look, we see limitations with the Red Engine. We know it's not the best, so let's like for these future titles, let's actually use the industry standard UE5, and let's just like let's use technology people are familiar with, something good to build upon. They completely changed their development practices within the studio, and that's how they revived Cyberpunk, and that's also how they made a killer DLC. And it's just like seeing stuff like that. It's like I really hope Bethesda would take notes from CD Projekt Red on that and just be like, like maybe it's time for change. Like in 25 plus years, we've been using similar engines, we haven't branched out, and our games are suffering because of it. So I think it's time we really just take a step back and just be like, hey, we need to do this. Now, look, I know they want to get out Elder Scrolls 6. I mean, it's Elder Scrolls 6 may be at a point where it's at a point of no return development-wise, and they just kind of have to push it out. Just the way the practices are now. But I would highly hope that after Elder Scrolls 6, it's like, all right, let's take a step back and let's really like see, okay, what do we need to do to actually like make a solid game that functions correctly in 2026, 7, 8, whatever year that comes out. And it's like
gives the fans some justice as well.
I know it's like a lot of like hopium I'm pumping out, but it's just like that's where I hope Bethesda goes, because like right now it's just like a stock ticker. It's just like slowly just going down, and it's just not good. So I don't know,
hard
man.
To handle, I think.
I don't know. I haven't played Skyrim yet because I know it's gonna be good, and so I'm just like, all right, like I'll save that for when I need Bethesda dopamine. I'll just like go through that, but yeah, I don't know. Right now it's just like Starfield's just been it's been a bit of a letdown. I did complete it, I will say. I mean, it was I think still like, in hindsight, I don't know. It's like it's a good Bethesda game. I'll just say that. It's not necessarily a good 2023 game, but or like not an amazing 2023 game, but it definitely is. It was passable with Bethesda standards, but going forward, they really just have to do something different. And if you have like veteran developers leaving your studio because you don't want to change your ways and you're just getting too big for your own pants, it's like this should be a sign. I feel like so.
Yeah, that's true. I do think one of the things to take away from the article that you might not have mentioned is just this developer got fed up with the BS, said I'm outie, went to Unreal Engine 5, and then made their own game. And the game that they did make, what is it called? Axis, like something? The Axis Unseen. I watched a bit of the trailer and the gameplay. It looks clean. It looks cool. Just running around having...
I mean, dude,
I don't even know.
Unreal Engine 5. I mean, look at these graphics, dude.
Yeah.
For those watching video, these graphics are insane.
Yeah. But it's just like a single dev. And I think we've seen better Unreal Engine 5 like gameplay.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
And it's just very interesting to see. It looks like you have a bow and arrow that just upgrades over time. You go through portals, you go to different areas, you like go hunting, it looks like, and things explode. It's madness, and it's pretty cool. So yeah, it just goes to show it's like we're getting to the point where you don't need a massive team to create good games. You really don't.
I mean, I feel like you never did. I mean, like Rockstar is maybe one outlier where it's like, okay, they have a lot of people working on the Grand Theft Auto games, and for the most part, they're good, right? It's like,
I think what I'm saying is like the original Grand Theft Auto had a small team that made it.
Yeah.
But it was a 2D like top-down view of a game. It was interesting. It was fun, but that had a pretty decent sized team. Now you can have like a one-man shop creating full-on games in
Oh yeah.
Unreal Engine 5. It looks gorgeous and it plays great.
Yeah.
And this can happen. It takes time, but it can happen. I think
Yeah.
it's getting better and better as we continue going on with the tools that are being allowed to the developers. So it's just good to see. It's like talent doesn't have to stay at a big publisher. You know,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
they can
Definitely not.
create new things. So
Yeah. I mean, also, yeah. I mean, at a certain point, it's like, if not now, then when? Like, if you want to create your own game,
yes,
like, just do it. Like, so,
yeah,
if not now, then when? And if not me, then who? That's the saying, you know?
exactly. Yeah,
That's
it's
the
totally
saying, baby.
the saying. Yeah,
That's a live life by saying right there, everyone. Not now, then when?
get together.
Not me, then who? If not now, then when? If not me, then Halo.
Halo. So moving on to the next article, we have technically two more left before we let you guys go. So we're kind of ranted a little bit on a couple of these things, but we're going to talk about the future of Halo. And it's I'm a huge Halo fan. I played all the games. I know a lot about the story. I know I've been paying way too much attention to the studios. So it's going to be pretty interesting to follow. This is coming from Tom Warren at The Verge. We've covered it countless times. The title is just called The Future of Halo is Being Built with Unreal Engine 5. 343 Industries is now Halo Studios, as the Xbox Studio changes up how it makes Halo games. So let's go into this, and then I'll do a little bit of like a React content, I think, because I'm deep in the Halo sphere of what's going on. Microsoft is moving its Halo development to Unreal Engine 5 after more than a year of rumors of an engine switch following a leadership overhaul at 343 Industries, layoffs, and other changes. 343 Industries is now becoming Halo Studios as part of this engine change announcement, hoping to mark a new chapter in the history of Halo. Halo move to Unreal Engine 5 is being positioned as a first step of a transformation. I was almost said transformative transformation for Halo Studios to change its technology, structure, processes, and even culture. And this is a quote from Pierre Hintz, which is now the studio head of Halo Studios. We are not just going to try to improve the efficiency of development, but change the recipe of how we make Halo games. The team building Halo will move from Studio's Slipspace engine to Unreal after the proprietary engine is built for Halo Infinite became difficult to use and strained development. Halo Studios has had to dedicate a lot of staff to developing the Slipspace engine, and parts of it are almost 25 years old. One of the primary things, this is a quote from Chris Matthews, the director of Halo Studios, art director, says, one of the primary things we're interested in is growing and expanding our world so players have more to interact with and more to experience. Nanite and Lumen, Unreal Engine's rendering and lighting technologies, which we've covered on the show earlier this year, it offers us an opportunity to do that in a way that the industry hasn't seen before. As artists, it's incredibly exciting to do that work. Halo Studios isn't committing to any release dates or new Halo game announcements just yet, but the team has been building some examples of Halo running in Unreal. Dubbed Project Foundry, the work is neither a game nor a tech demo, but more of a research, development, and training tool. It's also the foundation for how the studio is changing up the way it builds Halo games. Project Foundry, a little bit of lore by the way, Foundry was a map in Halo 3 that they used to build Forge. It was like the first Forge map. So it's kind of interesting that they're saying Project Foundry. And 343i, 343 Industries, is named after 343 Guilty Spark, which is a AI character within the Halo games. You first experience it in Halo CE. When you're on the Halo ring, it's the first AI creature that's in charge of the ring. So 343 Guilty Spark. That's why it's like these are Halo lore things.
Yeah,
is what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Project Foundry has been built as if it was a shipping game so that a bunch of it can appear in Halo games in the future. It's fair to say that our intent is that the majority of what we showcased at Foundry is expected to be in projects which we are building, or future projects. That's from the art director, by the way. Project Foundry includes more detailed landscapes for Halo biomes, as well as foliage levels we haven't seen in Halo games in the past. Master Chief's armor has been remodeled in this footage months after Tom Warren exclusively revealed in a notepad that Microsoft was working on some form of Halo Combat Evolved remaster. And Halo Studios is now working on multiple Halo games, while the Slipspace engine will continue to power Halo Infinite. And this is a quote from the art director hints, or is it studio head? I got to make sure I'm correct here. Sorry, the art director is Chris Matthews. The studio head is Hints, Pierre Hintzel or whatever. Where was I at?
We had
disproportionate focus on trying to create the conditions to be successful in servicing Halo Infinite, but switching to Unreal allows us to put all the focus on making multiple new experiences at the highest quality possible. Now, Kyle, I am curious what your take is on this article as somebody that is not as involved in Halo as I am.
Yeah.
So what's your take? What do you think? And then I'm going to tell you what mine is.
Yeah, I think I think this kind of goes back to the context where I was talking about Bethesda about like, because you mentioned Slipspace, it has pieces of the engine that are 25 plus years old. That's kind of where Creation Engine is for Bethesda. It's just a very outdated engine, and I think it's something similar that Halo Studios is doing. I hope Bethesda decides to do someday, like kind of use a different engine, try different tools.
Sure.
I think there is a lot of benefit, and I know we even talked about this in the group chat. I think originally I was like still kind of skeptical. I was like, this just doesn't make sense. Like I don't think it's like this is gonna save Halo necessarily or do anything crazy. But the more I think about it, the more we kind of talk about other studios and kind of how they're doing things, I think switching to a kind of more widely used engine like Unreal Engine 5 will do great things for developers to be able to jump in and understand things quicker. If there's going to be developers like coming into the studio that may not have prior experience with the Halo project, well, it's Unreal Engine 5, so if they worked on that with other projects, there's a lot of the proprietary stuff there that they'll understand. So I think it may make development smoother. That'd be my hope. I think overall, I think this is great that Halo Studios is actually going with an industry standard, trying something new, and trying to hopefully have to focus less on making the technological aspects of the game function correctly, because Unreal Engine 5 will do some of that heavy lifting. And so now they can hopefully focus more on like story, making something that's interesting in the Halo universe that is out of the box and different and kind of something that people are looking for in that universe. Because I feel like, with Infinite, and we talked about in the past, it's just like, especially story-wise, there just really wasn't anything there. Like, it was kind of empty calories. And then, you had the multiplayer game, and even the multiplayer game is like, the multiplayer aspect, a lot of people, there's been a lot of complaints and a lot of sluggish moving from developers to try and fix things. And there's some things that just aren't fixable. So it's like, there's just a lot of kind of turmoil there. But I don't know, man, this is, this has got me, I think, a little bit of excited to see kind of what the studio can do going forward, especially when they have Unreal Engine 5 backing it. Because I think just giving some of that heavy lifting to this engine will allow for creativity elsewhere. At least that's kind of that's what I would think. So I don't know. I see this as certainly a positive. Now, obviously,
I like your optimistic point of view.
Again, I think, it's 343. We've talked about him for years, personally, and I think there's still a lot of kind of foundation. There's still some foundation stuff that I think is probably not ideal, but I think rebranding, kind of rebirthing yourself anew, I think hopefully that can spark some positive change. At least that's my hope.
I think I'll give my take. So I think the rebrand going from 343 Industries to Halo Studios is completely irrelevant.
Yeah.
I don't think it matters at all. I think it's been well known that Halo Infinite was a complete failure. And it's kind of difficult to say that to people, because I don't think they understand that you don't get fired as the head studio or the CEO or president of the company because your game is good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Like, say what you will, but Bonnie Ross was fired.
Yeah.
That's what it was. She was forcibly shoved out the door.
Yeah. It's like firing a head coach of like a sports team. Like, it's not going good.
No, you don't get rid of your head coach when you're winning games.
Exactly. You just don't.
That just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So I think people, like, every time I've tried to criticize Halo on Twitter, it's always a bunch of 343 Industries apologists coming out of the woodwork because it's like they think I'm talking negatively. I don't know what what they think really. I might be psychoanalyzing, but it's like perhaps they might be thinking I hate Halo, but it's not. It's the opposite.
Hmm.
It's like I feel like Halo lost its way, and it's as simple as just saying like the campaign story makes zero sense. It's like
Yeah.
Halo 3 was the ending of the trilogy, and it ended pretty perfectly.
Yeah.
It ended with the door open though, which is why Halo 4 I accepted, and I really liked the Halo 4 series, and I liked where they were going with the story.
Yeah.
And then the Halo 5 like campaign marketing was completely different than what you actually got to play.
Yeah.
And it didn't make any sense. They
Hmm.
abandoned everything in Halo 4. And it was so
Hmm.
bad, like so badly received that in Halo Infinite they just threw everything out the window. Like Halo 5 never happened, and Halo 4 we won't talk about that.
Yeah.
We're gonna just reboot the franchise. But it's like if you're gonna just reboot the franchise and then not offer anything unique or captivating, like I beat the game on Legendary
Yeah.
100%. I barely remember what the hell was going on. It was just boring.
Yeah.
I
It's
don't
bad.
remember. It was lackluster. It was forgetful. And then you go into playing campaign or you go into playing multiplayer, which is what they keep gearing towards constantly with this competitive stuff. And the game networking is trash. The game like fundamentally breaks, like things don't work properly, constant crashes. I still can't play the damn game on my PC
Yeah.
because
3
it
years post
crashes.
launch. Yeah, dude.
Yes, because it's broken, and it's like I've
Mm.
completely given up with playing the game now. Like
Yeah.
I've loaded it up and tried to give it a chance off updates, and it crashes.
And it just
And
gets you every time.
yeah, and it's like the player base is going down. It's like at least back in the day, you could still get online and then like get your buddy and then go play campaign or like Halo Reach was a really good spin-off game. Fantastic. Halo Wars very very good. But it's just lackluster. So I don't think rebranding the studio is going to help you. I think going to Unreal Engine like you're talking about is perfect because they use contract workers for like 9 months at a time because they don't want to give people full benefits and like PTO. And it's like I think that's highly like unethical. It's not illegal. It's just I think it's wrong, morally wrong to
I agree.
um
I don't like that. And
yeah, but they do it, and the reason why the game was so bad is because you mentioned it like they had to learn the Blam engine, which
yeah,
is
I
the
know.
original
Yeah.
Halo engine
Yeah.
that they rebranded
Exactly.
into
Like
Slipspace engine. It's yeah,
exactly. Like
it
I mean that's why my optimism comes in. I'm like, okay, Unreal Engine 5, maybe there's some familiarity there, so it wouldn't be as bad
yeah.
of a transition if they still use that stupid contractor like thing, which I
Oh, they're
don't
going
like.
to.
I mean, yeah.
They're going to. That's the
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
The thing that blew my mind is like I even made a tweet about it. I wish somebody believed in me as much as Xbox believes in 343 Industries and Halo. Because this game, it can't be making them money, right?
No way. Yeah, no
Like,
way.
can it
I mean,
really? Like, and here's the thing that blows my mind, right? Everybody knows Halo.
yeah, dude.
Everybody knows Halo. Everybody has a good relationship with Halo in terms of like the original series and the
Yeah,
original like trilogy, even Halo
yeah, dude.
Reach, ODST, and Wars. The thing that's so freaking annoying though, they can't capitalize on it because they don't make good games. They just don't.
Yeah,
And people say they
and
do. It's like the player base is good on Xbox. It's like, dude, I will pull up Xbox top ranked games right now just to show you in the United States where Halo is predominantly used. Xbox has the most consoles sold in this country. It's not even top 30.
mm,
It's getting beaten up by Farming Simulator on the Xbox.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's just bad,
It's
man.
just
It's not good. It's not good.
it's tough to handle, I think, is what I'm getting at. And
Yeah.
I do think your optimism is the right way to go about it though. Don't get me
Yeah.
wrong.
Well, and
I
see
think
that's my opinion too of someone that's
yeah.
not as like in that world, you know, because you're certainly
Yeah.
more ears to the you're certainly more like nose to the ground about ear to the ground
Yeah.
about that stuff. I mean, this is just something from an outsider who barely plays. It's like, okay, like cool, there's some change coming. Who knows what
Yeah.
that's gonna bring? But I hope positive change.
Yeah, they need to throw out the old engine. They need to create an actual functional game. Functional so it doesn't crash.
Yeah.
And the networking, the servers need to be good. I should be playing Big Team Battle 36 servers in 2024. I'm sorry.
Shouldn't do it.
I should not be doing that. Like, I can go play Battlefield right now and do 256 people in a freaking lobby, and I feel like it feels better, you know,
Yeah.
than 8. It's ridiculous. It's silly and it's really dumb. But hopefully the future is bright because Unreal Engine 5 is good.
Yeah,
More people are going to be trained in it, so the contractors coming in shouldn't need that moment to adapt and like retrace people's codes and try to figure out everything and make sure the game works.
It's like we talked about earlier, dude. Get some good writing in there. That's all you need for Halo. I mean, dude, there is such a dedicated fan base, Mike. Like, if you just give them a reboot, I know you say it's chalked,
books,
but
they got TV shows, they got movies, and they just keep writing trash.
I know you're not as optimistic as I am, but it's like, dude, you need to
it's never gonna be as good, man.
It's just like, I don't know, man. They need something. I think story wise, like, dude, you have to make a good campaign again at least. Like that would draw me in. Like, if there's a good campaign, it's like, yeah, I'm playing it.
Let me put it this way: the lore and the fandom that was with Star Wars, and like after the Return of the Jedi, Luke Skywalker starts like a temple and like starts raising all these different Jedi and stuff like that, and rebuilding the Jedi Order. And it's like there's a whole bunch of stuff with that, and there's a whole bunch of lore. And then Disney came in and basically threw everything out, and all the canon's gone. Like Ahsoka wasn't real, like all this kind of stuff. That's how Halo feels. It's after fan theories of like after Halo 3 with the flood and like what the flood was, how the flood was like manipulating everything, how like all this crazy stuff. And it also tied into like Halo 4. There was a big theory about like, oh my god, Cortana's evil now. What's going on? Why is she evil? Is it because of what happened in the previous games of like Halo 2 where she was kind of infected by the flood? Because in the books they explain that. It's like, for people that don't know Halo, you don't know who these people are or what that stuff means. But if you are in Halo, you know what I'm talking about, because people that like watched or like played the campaign, they got super involved with it. And that's why Halo fans for the longest time were screaming for a Halo movie, and then make a Halo TV series on Paramount Plus that is just a shell of itself.
Garbage.
So the directors and writers can push their own narrative of some crap story drama episode that they wanted. And that's why it got canceled. That's why the studio heads got canceled at 343 Industries. That's why 343 doesn't exist anymore.
Literally.
You know what I mean? You can't just, I don't know, you can't just be kicking an IP in the face and completely disrespecting it, you know?
So you're telling me on the internet, Mike, there contains so much unofficially written story content that Halo Studios could literally just like take a layup, yoink it, and just throw it in a game and it'd probably be good.
Easily. Do you know how many Halo books there are?
Oh man. Just pull from the books, man. You have Unreal Engine 5, just pull from the books, dude.
Here's the other thing.
Throw in a little sprinkle of salt every now and again.
Side note, going back to Star Wars, because it's kind of like Halo is kind of inspired by biblical references, but it's also like Star Wars references too. Why, if you're in a universe, why are you concentrating on one specific time period?
Why are you concentrating on Tatooine?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Like, why is it that like every new Star Wars game or movie that I see, it always takes place on Tatooine or some desert planet that's just like Tatooine? It's like, bro, it's a freaking universe.
Yeah,
show me something else.
It's a universe. Yeah.
Please.
Don't take me to the ring in Halo, dude. Don't take me to
Dude, do you understand how quickly I would buy a game if I could play as an elite, as a warrior, starting off like a Spartan child kind of thing? Like, you know, like the Spartan lore is of like actual Sparta in Greece. That's like what the Sangheili or elites were based on. If I could be in a tribe as an elite, work my way up in the ranks, I would play that tomorrow, dude. Like, easily. But there's no thought process, I don't think. I don't know. That's my rant.
Doesn't seem that way, but
overall, I think it's going to be good that they switch engines.
Yeah, that's the biggest positive, I think. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think the stories are chalked. I think switching engines is going to be better for the overall game experience and the development process. And I think networking issues should go away because the engine is tied to the networking issues.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. I think ultimately, to be fair as well, I think there's a lot of people out there that play Halo Like I feel like this franchise is getting to a point where like no matter what they put out, there's always going to be people that are going to be extremely like looking at everything with a fine-tooth comb, very critical of what they put out, no matter what. I mean, if it's good, then I mean, like I don't know, they would really have to hit it out of the park, I think, to really win back some fans and really get like this name back on the map. So that's my only concern is like you can't make an average game, you just can't. Like you got to make something that's like 10 out of 10, like or else it's just a loss, I think. So.
Well, I mean, so 343 has had Halo longer than Bungie ever did. Bungie made Halo CE in 9 months. They made Halo 2 in 18 months, and they made Halo 3, some people consider the best multiplayer game of all time, in less than 3 years. So you've had the IP for longer than they've had it. I don't know how, like 343 Industries was founded in what, like 2010, so they've had it for 14 years.
No.
And you haven't made a good game yet?
You made like one game and then another game, and then it was like 5 years till the next game.
You made 3. You basically made Halo 4, which I consider was a lot of fun. It was a very good casual game.
No.
And they got ripped apart because it was casual. And then they made Halo 5, which is a more competitive game. Incredibly flawed and partially broken game. Campaign was trash. Heavy aim, like fundamentally broken. It had more success, granted, but to be fair, there wasn't really good games going on at that time. And then Halo Infinite came out. Everybody was super excited. It was on multiple platforms, and the vast majority of people were just like, they dropped the ball. They could have done so many things differently.
Yeah. It's unfortunate, Mike. It is.
Yeah.
But
it is what it is.
Well, what more can we say, you know? What more can we say?
We can talk about this next controller coming out, though.
Oh, true.
That's what we could say.
Talk about positive hardware?
Yeah. I'm looking forward to this because I've heard a lot of positive feedback about the GameSir's.
Yep.
And I really like the buttons. So I'll let you get into it, but it's pretty cool.
Yep. So this controller can change the layout of face button labels. Hear that, Mike? Dynamically. It's crazy.
I like it.
GameSir's Tarantula Pro has buttons that can toggle between Xbox and Switch style layouts. GameSir's new Tarantula Pro controller. It's an article coming from Andrew Lazuski over at The Verge.
Yeah.
GameSir's new Tarantula Pro controller is designed for multiple gaming platforms, including the Nintendo Switch, iOS, Android, PCs, and Steam devices. To make switching between those platforms a little easier, both the layout and the labels on the controller's face buttons can be changed. The $70 Tarantula Pro addresses a common problem experienced by gamers multiple consoles. Nintendo Switch uses the clockwise button layout of X, A, B, and Y, while the Xbox, Steam Deck, and mobile controllers for Apple and Android devices use Y, B, A, and X. And there's a nice little thing in real time GIF on the article where it shows you the layout changing. Pretty cool. Just flops them all right there. The GameSir Connect mobile app can swap the functional layout of the Tarantula Pro's face buttons back and forth between Switch and Xbox modes according to user preference and game compatibility, even though this won't work as an Xbox controller. While pressing a combination of buttons on the controller itself, it activates a motorized mechanism that rearranges the face button labels. A controller can't change.
Mechanical. Yeah, that's cool.
Sounds like a controller can't change any muscle memory you've built up from one layout to the other, but labels will at least provide a reminder of which buttons you should be pressing. Tarantula Pro isn't just a one-trick pony or arachnid. I like that. It can connect to gaming devices over Bluetooth, a USB cable, or using an included 2.4 GHz dongle for reduced lag. It also offers NFC, so you can use amiibos while connected to a Switch. Cool. Rumble feedback. It includes a built-in gyroscope for games playable using motion-based controls. It's got a nice thin layout, Mike. See this?
It looks like a little bit of an... It looks like a mix between a Power A controller with like the back buttons, but also a maybe PS4 controller.
Yeah, kind of.
Looks really elongated though.
It does. Yeah, it looks pretty long. Yeah, it kind of gives you a. I'm kind of like zooming in. Yeah, it kind of gives you like a little clear view into the mechanism. It almost looks like on the right side.
Yeah, if you notice, I don't think it's actually a graphic. I think it's actual like a mechanical thing that spins. You can see it in the GIF if you go up.
Oh yeah, you can
see where the thumb is to the right. It spins.
Oh yeah, look at that. So it actually changes. Yeah, it's cool. It actually changes the buttons. It's like legit.
I don't know if it actually changes the buttons or if it's like synced up with the buttons.
Maybe.
Like changing. Who knows?
Who knows?
Looks cool.
So to conclude, many third-party controllers have long abandoned the potentiometer sticks responsible for the Switch's notorious Joy-Con drift, but instead are opting for magnetic Hall effect sticks as GameSir's uses in its T4 Cyclone and Cyclone Pro gamepads. Companies using newer tunneling magneto-resistant sticks, TMR for short, on the Tarantula Pro that is says to be more sensitive, more accurate, and use less power without being vulnerable to drifting issues over time. Tarantula Pro offers 9 mappable buttons, including an extra pair on the back behind the grips that can be completely disabled to prevent accidental presses. It also features Hall effect triggers that can be switched to a hair trigger mode, which shorter travel using a pair of switches, improving reaction times in FPS games. Yeah, I see the little switches on the back here in the photo provided.
I like that a lot, actually.
Yeah, very cool. The controller even has a built-in RGB lighting, including a strip of accent lighting, a glowing home button, which can be used to wake the Switch, and light up face buttons. GameSir's Tarantula Pro is available for pre-order now through the company's website on its own or as part of a $80 bundle with a stand that will also charge the controller's 1200 milliamp battery. What are you thinking, Mike? It's like a little slim, like a little sleek. I don't know.
I like it. I think it's pretty cool. I know a couple of people that actually own the GameSir's, and they think they're wonderful controllers. They play them and they go to tournaments and stuff like that. So very cool. But I don't know if I would personally get it.
Okay,
just because it's $70 and I don't actually need it. I have so many controllers already.
Yeah,
you know.
I know. Yeah, you definitely don't need some. I mean, I like the idea of like a button switch layout kind of thing. Yeah, it could be cool. I mean, for me, it's like if the controller's comfortable to use, that's kind of the main thing for me right now. I'm not really looking for like a billion buttons or anything. So I don't know if I'm necessarily in the market for this one right now, but I think it's just cool to see like just controllers trying different things, and this is definitely something I have not seen on a controller yet. So
yeah,
yeah, I gotta give it to them there. But yeah, dude,
yeah, it looks clean.
Yeah, sure does, dude. Nice little camo plate on the front. Looks like kind of gray camo.
Yeah,
it looks.
I always like covering the gamepads because it just keeps us kind of in touch about what's coming out. That's new.
Like what's out there,
the new technology. Yeah. The getting rid of the joystick drift by putting a Hall effect controller joysticks in, awesome, because it's finally starting to become a trend. It's so good.
Yeah, that's the thing too. It's like it was an old technology too, which is funny. It's like
it was originally for Sega or whatever.
Yeah, it's like it was like on the Atari or something. Like now you're putting it into modern controllers. All right, yeah, dude, pretty cool stuff. Mike. I think that was it, dude.
Yeah, I think it was it. We kind of went over our usual time that we try to do. I don't know what that was for.
We got
ranty. Just ranting too much.
We got ranty today.
Got ranty. That's a fact. But I guess we'll just go ahead and let the people go. I mean, it's getting kind of late for us here in the studio. And it's like, might as well wrap it up and hear a little cat. Your cat's in the background just creeping.
It's like, well, I need food. Man.
Yes, sir. Let's go feed your cat. I almost said dog. I'm so used to that. My bad.
How dare you?
Yeah, but let's wrap it up real quick. Let everybody go. We do appreciate you guys coming in and just showing some love and support, listening to us all the time. If you're watching us, hope you enjoyed what you were able to read with us and like check out. We have everything like before. We have like all our social media links in the description wherever you're listening or watching. We also have timestamps in particular. So if you leave and you come back, all our episodes in its entirety have timestamps, so you can check out like which articles we're talking about. Or if you're not into like maybe say you're just not feeling the Bethesda article, it's like, man, what's going on in the next article? And you click that one, you go to that one too. So just like to bring those up. Kyle, I'll leave the floor to you. Do you want to say anything before we let him go?
Dude, look into a control of Hall effect joysticks. I'll say that.
Yeah.
Rip Ubisoft. Well, I won't say rip yet, but you know, they're like on the, you know,
they're on the cusp.
They have like one hand out of the grave, and they're just like trying to crawl out.
Yeah, they have a lot of IPs, so I think they'll be okay. But when they start selling off like Assassin's Creed, that's when you know it's a rip. That's when you know.
Yeah, not good.
I think they'll be bought up by like Sony or something first.
I don't know. We'll see. But listen, got that. Yeah, dude. Want Bethesda to do well because I'm depressed about Bethesda.
Yeah.
And
I want Halo to do well. I just want a good game.
yeah, true. I want Halo to do well too. And that's the thing. I know you, Mike. I know you're passionate about Halo, so I know when you're like dogging on it and like talking that ish. I know it comes from a place of you want it to be good again. You love the game, so
Yeah.
I understand that, but I get what you're saying. Probably most people are just like looking at it at face value and they don't actually know the real Mike.
Yeah, I view Halo as a sleeping giant that hasn't been activated since Halo Reach. That's what I think. It's not that like I'm a boomer and I can't accept change, because I can. I played a buttload of Halo 5. I played a ton of Halo Infinite. Halo 4 is one of my favorite big team battle style games. But it's just not there anymore. There's a reason there's so many people that play the old games.
Yeah.
And
that's true.
There's not very many people playing like Halo 4 anymore, or Halo 5.
Yeah. I see a good way of putting it though. Sleeping Giant.
Yeah.
That's definitely the Halo franchise, I think.
It is, and it's so frustrating. And to prove it's a sleeping giant, just go look at the freaking Steam charts when Halo Infinite launched.
Yeah, dude.
Just go look at it.
We're playing
It's like 400,000 or something crazy.
Playing it, dude.
I don't know. Yeah. At one point, Halo 3 had 1 million people online at once on one console.
That's what I'm saying.
One platform.
So did Call of Duty at one point, dude. It was crazy times, you know?
Yeah.
Late aughts. Crazy times.
Honest. New Call of Duty is coming out soon.
Yeah, it's like 3 weeks away, yeah. 2, 3.
Yeah. And I'm excited to start playing Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 7, or whatever it actually is. I think it's technically it'd be 5, but they renamed it to Sparking Zero. So I'm excited. I'm gonna be playing that for sure. I'm gonna come back and say I play a new game. That's my goal.
I hope so, dude. Hope so, Mike.
Yeah.
Hope that for me and especially for you.
Thanks, man. All right, let's let the people go. We want to thank you guys for tuning in. I'm Michael Anstey. This is KyleHeath. This is the M2 podcast. We appreciate you for tuning in. Check the timestamps below. Check the links below, and we'll see you next week. So without further ado, keep gaming. We'll check you out later. Have a good one. Peace out.
Keep gaming, no. Bye. Play some more Game Pass.
See ya.